warm welcome to everyone present here. I'm Priya Kandasamy, Content Marketing Strategist from Adyogi. Today, we have with us Anshuk Aggarwal, the CEO and co-founder of Adyogi, and Tapan Acharya, the CEO from Omni. A few days ago, we were all talking about how the buying trends have changed tremendously in the last few months, especially during this pandemic, and how the selling trends have evolved equally. That's when we thought, why not carry this thought to the larger audience and discuss how D2C brands can scale in the current scenario with the help of efficient marketing and omni-channel strategy. Before I hand over to Anshuk and Tapan, we have a few quick polls to understand our audiences better. The first poll, how many physical retail stores do you have? What platforms do you currently use to promote your digital ads? Which channels do you currently conduct business in? And finally, what is your current business life cycle stage? We'll be closing this poll now. Thank you. We'll be hosting a Q&A session in the last 20 minutes of today's session. So please keep your questions coming in the Q&A section below. We also have special offers for today's attendees, so stay tuned till the end. The contact information of both Adyogi and Omni is available in the chat box. Over to you, Anshuk and Tapan.
Hey Anshuk, how are you?
Hi Tapan, I'm doing very well. How about you?
I'm good, buddy. Good to meet you here. Good to meet you here. And first of all, thank you, Priya, for bringing us together. In this pandemic, so much has changed, and the stores saw shutters, so the online has really come to the fore. Before pandemic, when we used to talk about online business and to tell the brands that online jao, they used to say, "Ki haan, theek hai, baad mein aana." But now things have totally changed, and the online consumer is like, it has become a big business share. When I say big, I'm talking about on a subset of, let's say, 100 brands. I've talked to about 100 brands. So online share or omni-channel share, which was earlier 3 to 5% of their P&L, entire company P&L for fashion and lifestyle, that has become in some of the brands somewhere around 25% to at max 40%. So that's the change that I've seen, Anshuk. Also, if you see, Anshuk, India as a demography, we are 140 crore people, 1.4 billion people. And the kind of internet penetration that we have in the country, the kind of people who are wanting to go live, 65% of India is below 35 years of age. So we are naturally, we have a high propensity to consume. So Anshuk, I wanted to pick your brains because India is going through a transformation. The young generation is buying online. So I wanted to, pull you in and learn from you that how somebody could build their D2C business, because it will be very good for people to not waste their money and learn from your experience building a successful D2C business. What do you say, Anshuk?
Absolutely, Tapan. I think there is no better time to be talking about building a D2C business than it's today. In fact, if you just look at the last 6 months, there is so much traction which is happening in D2C. Many brands who are raising funding for D2C. I see a lot of retail brands who earlier had offline first strategy, and online was just sort of a experiment which they used to do. But now many of these brands have started seeing online as one of their primary source of growth and top line. Right? I also see brands who were earlier selling mainly on marketplaces. Now they are trying to shift their focus and also say that, look, I want to do D2C also, because I believe that D2C will give me more customer ownership. I'll have more control over scale and growth. So that's the trend we have been seeing, Tapan. I do see that now that you spoke about retail, right? Retail brands actually have a lot to reinvent in the last couple of years. Retail is like a 50, 100-year-old industry, but COVID has sort of given them a shift or kind of a jolt, I would say. So what is your take on how do you think retail brands have to reinvent themselves?
Anshuk, fantastic question. So let me just take things out of perspective even before pandemic. As we all know, Amazon doesn't have a store. Still people were buying and preferring to buy from Amazon because of customer experience. Now, most of the traditional retail talks about customer experience inside the store, but then what are the factors which will give a customer experience beyond the store? A lot of marketplaces have taught us. There is Nordstrom in the US, no questions asked, customer service. You get delivered product on time, refunds on time. So the whole propensity to consume and the feeling of the newer generation, our generation, and the human mankind of instant gratification has powered, already was powering the online shift. And what has the pandemic done is it has accelerated because the traditional avenues were shut down. So people, we are human mankind, we are open people, we buy. So people went out and bought online. So a lot has changed. Role of store has changed. Processes have changed. The way your systems interact with each other has changed. So I'll talk about it in Anshuk in detail, and thanks for pulling up this question, and I will indeed talk about this in detail. But Anshuk, before me, I want you to talk, and मैं आपको आसानी से जाने नहीं दूंगा. I want you to give me 2-3 things. First, everybody, when we talk about D2C or marketing, everybody stops at Google and Facebook and talks about that and stops there. So I don't want you to stop at Google and Facebook. I want you to tell people what's beyond Google and Facebook, number one. Second, Anshuk, I would want to hear some case studies from you. Give us some live examples, and with numbers, that what's the kind of an impact those brands saw, etc. So ये तीन, Anshuk, मेरी conditions हैं कि यार you should be giving us these 3 things. So this is what I want from you. So
Absolutely,
Anshuk,
Tapan.
help us with this D2C thing, and talk to us about the numbers, the real life case studies, and beyond Google and Facebook.
Absolutely, Tapan. So this really happy to be talking about how does a brand today get people to their online store, because that is one of the biggest challenges. And more importantly, how do they do that outside of Facebook, Google, because most brands use Facebook, Google by default, right? So more than happy to talk about it, but then you have to complete the other part of the puzzle, because getting the customers on the website is not enough. There's a lot which happens after it. There is this whole logistics, warehouse management, omni-channel experience. So I'll talk about getting people, but then you have to talk about the rest of the puzzle.
My commitment, I'll talk about the conversion and profitability beyond, when you do omni-channel. Those 2 aspects I'll cover.
Perfect. So let me just jump straight into, I've put together a few, I would say, slides based on the demands which I got from Tapan. And what I'll do is I'll start with them. So the first question, I think, which everybody on this forum has to ask is, can a DTC brand really scale on its website, right? And we're talking about, again, a retail brand here, Rare Rabbit. Can they scale on their website? And the answer is an astounding yes. Brands today can scale online, especially because of the impact we have seen in COVID. This particular brand, they scaled from $1 million sales to $10 million sales in less than 24 months time, right? And the question is, if they can do it, then everybody who is on this forum can also replicate. A lot of retail brands can also replicate their success. Now, the core question which Tapan asked me today was, how do they get all this traffic, or how do they get people on their online store to make a purchase, right? And if I ask this question, I think 100% of people are going to say use Facebook ads, use Google ads, which is what most DTC brands today do. And when I talk to a lot of founders today, I get amazed when all they focus on is Facebook and Google, and they leave out all the other avenues of growth, right? And today I'll be talking about not only Facebook for Google, just a brief summary of that, but I'll also cover some of the other aspects of scaling a brand. And what I've seen is it's these other aspects which make a difference, because today running Facebook, Google is something which everybody can do. All the 2,000, 5,000 brands who are trying to do DTC will be running their Facebook and Google ads. So in the next, I think 5-7 minutes, I'll cover 8 crisp examples. I'll take some numbers, I'll give some case studies, just with the hope that people who are present here will have clear takeaways on how do they bring people to their online store. So the first one is, of course, we can't leave Facebook out because that will be an incomplete picture. So the first is you have to run Facebook ads, right? But when I say Facebook ads, I'm talking about conversion ads on Facebook. I'm not talking about traffic ads. I'm not talking about click ads. I'm not talking about lead ads. So what you need to run is conversion ads. And more importantly, you need to run ads of your products. So we have seen that ads which show actual products are the ones which perform really well. Ads which have brand, which land on the home page or the category page, do not really give so many sales, because today the buyer actually wants to impulsively buy a product they like. If they really are saying that, look, I want to buy from this brand, they might as well go to Amazon and buy it, right? So which is why showing products in ads is important. And not only showing products is important, it's also important to pre-qualify your audience by showing them price. It's important to have a call to action button of shop now, because you don't want to get people with an intent to like learn more or know more. You want people to come to your website with an intent to buy. So first is run conversion ads on Facebook. To give you an example, W does this very aggressively. You would see these ads on Facebook all the time, and they get a very good return on ad spend by running these ads. The second, which again, I think a lot of stores might also be doing or already be doing, is something called as shopping ads on Google. Now, when you go on google.com and you search for some keywords, let's say, for example, you search for, let's say, proteins, or you search for, let's say, plant protein, or you search for dresses, you search for tops, you would see a lot of images coming below Google, right? These are not text ads, not the traditional search ads. These are known as shopping ads. It's a relatively new product which came up in the last 4 or 5 years. And this works beautifully well because it drives intent traffic on your website. Now think about it. Facebook is driving people who are impulsively purchasing, but Google is driving that traffic of people who are searching for your products. And people who are searching for your products are more likely to purchase. They're more likely to purchase higher value products on your website. So this is an absolutely mandatory thing for any DTC brand today to run, which is smart shopping campaigns. And to give an example, Plix Life is a very big brand in the health and wellness segment, and they run smart shopping ads very aggressively, and they've been getting a great traction from their smart shopping campaigns. Now here is where I go outside of Facebook and Google. Technically, YouTube is a part of Google because YouTube was acquired by Google many years ago. But today, when you talk to people about running ads, many of them forget about YouTube altogether. So I'm also considering YouTube as not really Google. YouTube as an independent platform in itself. And that's exactly what I'll recommend all the brands here to do. Think of YouTube as an independent platform. Like you have your Facebook strategy and Google strategy, you should definitely have a separate strategy for YouTube. Now, the moment we talk about YouTube, the first reaction I get from the founders I speak to is YouTube is a branding channel and I don't have branding budgets, right? But this was the reality till about 2-3 years ago. Last 2 years, Google has invested heavily into launching performance capabilities on YouTube. And one of the products which they rolled out is YouTube for Action campaigns, which are meant to drive conversions and not meant for awareness, not meant for branding. So do try YouTube for Action campaigns. Again, like I said, run product videos. Don't run brand videos because brand videos are for branding campaigns. Product videos are for conversion campaigns. And the second is show price on the ad copy, land people on the product page, which are just best practices for running a performance campaign. Again, Best Solar Lighting is a brand we work with. They ran YouTube campaigns, and they got a very good quality traffic on their website, and they also got good sales coming directly from the YouTube campaign. The next is again related to YouTube, but something which was recently launched as recent as 6 months ago. Now, some of you, when you scroll on YouTube feed, you would see that there are some ads which are now popping up on the YouTube feed. And these ads look very similar to what you see on Facebook and Instagram. So when you scroll on Facebook, you see carousel ads, you see newsfeed ads. Similarly, when you scroll on YouTube, you also see carousel and newsfeed ads. So a very recent addition to the YouTube ecosystem. These are known as discovery ads. They were launched by Google just 6 months ago for everybody, and they are performing really well, purely because it's a very new market. The number of brands who are leveraging discovery ads is significantly low, which means the cost of ads is low, which means the cost of click is low, and you get a lot of traffic. There is one more reason that increasingly people are spending a lot more time on YouTube. I'm sure you see your friends around, you see your parents, and you would see that they're spending bulk of their time during the day just scrolling the YouTube feed. And these are the people who eventually end up clicking and then coming to the website. This example is CAF. They are targeting men, women in the age group 30 to 45, and they saw an amazing response coming from your discovery ads. Now, moving a little further from Facebook, Google, and YouTube, the next channel is influencer marketing. Now, I know influencer marketing is an overused term, and a lot of people keep questioning whether influencers work or they don't work. My suggestion here is use influencers as a way of creating content. Okay? So it does not matter so much if the influencers have, let's say, 10 million following or 1 million following, or let's say 1 lakh following. But we have seen that influencers are very good in their capability to create content, which means that when you work with influencers, try to get rights to that content, maybe rights to those images, rights to those videos, and then use these images and videos on your own social channels. It could be ads on Facebook, Google, it could be your social pages, like Facebook page, Instagram page, Twitter page, LinkedIn page, or it could be your website. So engage with a lot of influencers, create content from influencers, and use it across all your presence. Now, just to give you an example, Malmal is a premium fashion brand we work with, and they recently did this influencer campaign with Sanjana Sanghi, and they figured out that the launch which they did picked up very well, even without ads, just because the influencer was quite popular, just because the creative content was so good. The sixth one today, I'll talk about this brand called Sleepy Owl. Okay, I'm sure many of you would have seen their ads on social platforms. If you see on the left side, this is a video they were running on their Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube pages. And this was a pure organic video. They didn't spend any money on this video. And this video had people who are customers of Sleepy Owl talk about the brand. Right? And as you can see, there are 4 different people. People in Gurgaon can also recognize the background. This looks like Cyber Hub or Cyber City. And each of them have been talking about what they find unique about Sleepy Owl. And this video actually went sort of viral on social media. People liked this video, people commented on this video, they shared this video. So very, I would say, economical way of reaching out to the masses, right? The same, if they are done on Facebook, they would have paid a lot of money on ads, but they were able to organically generate. So today, when a lot of brands ask me that, Anshuk, should we be doing SEO for our e-commerce store? I typically recommend them, you can try SEO, but the first and the foremost thing you should do is be more active on your social pages. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn pages are actually a better source of organic traffic for e-commerce brands than just SEO, because SEO is exceptionally hard. When somebody searches for your products, there are 10 paid links which Google shows, and only then the SEO links start coming. So even if you are on the top of SEO, your chances of getting that traffic is quite low. And you can use your customers, you can use user-generated videos, you can use micro-influencers for generating these videos. You can even do these videos in your own office spaces. So today the video creation cost has come down substantially lower. You don't need a fancy production house. All you need is a TikTok style video and a mobile phone with a camera, which everybody has. And the last two, which I'll be talking about today, is I've seen that when it comes to D2C brand, you cannot overemphasize on the importance of 360-degree marketing. Okay. And when I say 360-degree marketing, I'm saying that just having an online website today is not sufficient. You need to have more avenues of reaching out to your potential customers. Now, these avenues could be marketplaces, these avenues could be offline stores, these avenues could be trade fairs, these could be events, but the more places you are present and the more places you are interacting with your potential customers, the better the performance of your ad campaigns. So marketing in a way is like 360-degree marketing, which works really well. And I'll give an example of this brand, Swatantra. They listed on Nykaa some time back. For the longest time, they were a DTC only brand, just selling on their own website. But then eventually they decided to list on Nykaa. And what they figured out is just being listed on Nykaa gave them a lot of eyeballs on these marketplaces. So I know there is a tendency that when you are on marketplaces, you have to give discounting, you have to give a share to marketplace, but you also need to understand that in return, you get a lot of eyeballs and a lot of traction from people who eventually can search on Google and eventually can come to your website and make a purchase. So presence on marketplace can actually help you grow your D2C business. And the last one is actually a very, I'm sure a lot of you already do that. It's actually a part of Google, but it's very important to be running campaigns on Google for your own brand keywords. The reason this is important is when you do all of what I said, like number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, many people will start coming on google.com and will start searching for your brand name. And if you're not running brand search ads, there is a likelihood you might miss out on this high intent traffic. So while it might seem to you that you're wasting money by bidding on your own brand keywords, what we have seen is the cost of acquisition on brand keywords is really, really low. So even if you're spending a couple of ₹1,000 on your brand search keywords, it's totally worth the money. So that in a nutshell is what I would say. My just one takeaway from today, from my today's talk would be that don't just rely on Facebook and Google for your DTC website. Try to do things outside of it. And many times what you do outside of it becomes the key differentiator on whether you are able to scale profitably or not. Just 30 seconds before I think I'll pass on the baton to Tapan. Very quick about what Adyogi does. We are a marketing platform. We work primarily with direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands. We integrate websites like Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, provide a layer of automation on top of it, and automate ads on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and Amazon. We work with brands across apparel and a lot of CPG brands to help them scale profitably. So that's, I think, Tapan, I have done my part of the promise for today.
Fantastic, Anshuk. Actually, I learned a lot, and how to go beyond Google and Facebook, and look at YouTube, because I personally see myself scrolling YouTube video. I also feel that the whole in-demand thing has changed the way consumers look at spending their time. Also, the way you've talked about influencer marketing, and you brought out 3 very old studied points. I was studying at Kellogg Business School, and they taught me something about paid media, shared media, and earned media. The way you've told about things like how to use influencers, and how by doing something on, let's say, a marketplace, it starts to power up your other side of keywords. And thank you, Anshuk. I think so it was a good refresher for me. So very much, and good you covered the case study, and good you covered the numbers as well. So thanks to you, Anshuk, on that. So I will now come ahead and fulfill my promise. So I'll just quickly try and share a slide deck which will put a little bit more context in what I'm going to talk about. Can everybody see my slides, Anshuk?
Yes, we are able to see.
Great. I'll just put it in the presentation mode. And I just have about 6 points to talk about. In the 6 points to talk about, I just want to first put a context. So India, 1.4 billion people. What has happened in the pandemic is that as I've told you that the P&L share of online has completely changed. It's now 25%. In fact, I've seen some brands talk about 40%, not just 30%. Interstate logistics is under huge amount of pressure. Per month, we are doing as a e-commerce shipments about 150 million shipments per month is what the entire e-commerce industry is doing through logistics. So the interstate is in huge pressure. Also, the consumer want an instant gratification. So home delivery is like a given. If you're doing home delivery, what's the big deal about it? But it's all about slotted delivery. It is all about same day delivery. It is all about next day delivery. It's all about 3-hour delivery. It's all about hyper local delivery. Also, when consumer is now taking the risk leaving their kids at home or family at home and they're coming into the store, they have completely different expectations. The store is the temple of the brand. If somebody is coming to the temple, they don't want to return empty handed. They want the prasad. They want the product to be in the store. So it's entire things have changed, and it's very important, as you've heard from Anshuk also, to know your customer, to know what is the customer preferences, what do they like. So the entire aspect of a data lake is very, very important. One important perception which I want to add is 2 years back, everybody I used to talk to, and I'm saying everybody, they used to say, oh, online shopping is just discounted merchandise. It is just old stock merchandise. But in this time, online new stock merchandise is also moving. Full price product is also moving. So the whole parlance of a perception of online has changed. The second part I want to talk about, what is the challenge? Why this is a big deal in omnichannel. So if you see, due to various stores and due to various warehouses, the inventory is completely fragmented. In India, there are more than 26,000 pin codes. So the demand can come from anywhere. Your shipping cost can be very, very high. If you're fulfilling from just from your warehouse, your shipping cost is so high. In some cases, it is even up to 20% of your ASP. So which is very, very high. So the entire margin mathematics is under pressure. It is before the pandemic, brands used to block one set of merchandise कि ये हमारा marketplace merchandise है. This merchandise is हमारा D2C merchandise. This is our store merchandise. Now it's not possible. You cannot have so much inefficiency in your working capital. Now it's very important to power all the channels with the same merchandise. And so there's a shift in the mindset. The role of the store has changed. So a store person is no more a person who gets up doing things when the customer walks in. A store person is now packaging the goods. A store person is now delivering it to the courier guy. So a lot of things have changed. So when I'm talking omni-channel model, I'm talking about online buying and deliver from store, fulfill from store. So when I was going through all these problems, and we have about hands-on experience with 100+ brands. So we saw that we need to put a framework. So we divided it into a 3-point framework. So we called it as connect, converge, converse. So in the connect step, we connect all the inventory or the assortment of all the stores and warehouse put together. And in the converge step, so once you, in the connect step, once you've connected all the inventory, you have now the single view of the inventory, that what all products do I have. And in the second step, we get into the converge part. In the converge part, we converge all channels to sip from the same assortment. So what happens is that when online also is getting fulfilled from your store is fresh. Your store is not carrying stale and old products. Your store is carrying now fresher products. And whenever a customer walks in, they see newer assortment. So the second, there is converge. And the third step is converse. When you can spot a customer online, offline, when the lifetime value, the number of times the customer is buying, the way the customer is connecting with you is increasing, you can have a relevant conversation. Now, what I mean by relevant, how many of us here in the forum that we are talking have read all our SMSs? I would say we would have, each of us have more than 500 SMSs which we have not read, because it is over communication.
I have 1,000, Tapan.
So it is very important to have relevant conversations. So once you know about the customer, you pick up and have the relevant conversations. So the need of the hour is you get all your systems, your inventory management system, your warehouse management system, your order management system, CRM, loyalty, all talk to each other and build an omni-channel system. Now, I wanted to tell you what is my model and how do we think about omni-channel. What we see is in the pandemic, we invented this word called storefront. You could have a physical storefront, you could have a Facebook storefront, you could have a conversational commerce storefront, you could have a marketplace storefront. It is just a storefront, a D2C storefront, where orders are originating. So all the stores, all the storefronts should send the orders into a single order management system. And the order management system should be connected to the logistics partner. So when the order comes in, the order management that which is the fastest way or the best experience way for the customer to fulfill this order. And the reason is cancellation rates. The more the time take for your product to reach to the customer, the higher are the cancellation rates. If customer is placing the order and the customer gets it in the same evening, or the customer gets it in the next morning, your cancellation rates are low by a huge margin. And that margin, I'll give you an example. With just a warehouse fulfillment, I have seen personally hands-on cancellation rates upwards of 30%. And the minute we shift and master to a store fulfillment, the cancellation rates are less than 3%. So it's a massive reduction, and that is your cost saving. So the logistics player picks up from the product from the store. So the store is the fulfillment channel, and they are fulfilling the order. So the role of the store changes. So that is omni-channel for us. So I didn't want to give a kind of a motherhood guidance here. I wanted to distribute it into the 7 pillars. That what are the 7 pillars you should look at while you're mastering and you're doing omni-channel at scale. And here triple underline is at scale. When your omni-channel is 2%, 5%, you can do whatever you want. But when your online and omni-channel is 25%, 40%, you better do it right. Otherwise the logistics cost and return cost will break your back. So the first thing that I see a hurdle in people's mindset, oh, IT system lagana padega, oh, there will be a big IT system, so there will be a big capital cost, etc. Wrong. The world is cloud now. The world in the SaaS world is pay by use. So everything is in the either AWS, or it could be a Google Cloud, or it could be a Azure Cloud. So your systems, you don't need to buy a system, and it's a pay as you go model. So you pay by order. Your order goes, you give a particular share to the software provider. So you do not need to buy a system. A capex is not required. So that's the first mindset somebody should connect. And when your systems are on the cloud, integrating systems is very, very easy. So your POS can connect with your inventory management system. It can see what are your online orders, reports, dashboards are very, very simple. The second aspect, which is a hygiene, it is the basic hygiene, is one assortment for all the channels. We cannot afford now to abuse the working capital by keeping a separate assortment per channel. The minute you have this model, as you are seeing on the screen, that your store is fulfilling orders from Myntra, your store is fulfilling orders from Flipkart, from your D2C, everywhere, your logistics cost is lower by a 70%, 70%. That is pure addition to your margins. And your store remains fresh because all the merchandise is moving fast, whatever is the channel. So that's the important point which you must do. It's a store fulfillment model. And even if you see the latest news, etc., like Flipkart is trying to do a lack of Kirana stores. So the entire, it's a movement now. Everybody is going in that direction. The third part is, as I said, to reduce logistics cost. You cannot afford to have a warehouse fulfillment model. Let's say I'm sitting in Bangalore and I'm buying a shoe. And if you're delivering it from a warehouse in Delhi, and God forbid if I cancel the order, forward and return will be your loss. And you will still have the product to resell the product. So that's a massive headache. So you should totally ensure that in a store fulfillment model, what happens is the cancellation rates and logistics are very, very low, and you optimize it. Also, because the product is reaching very, very fast to the customer, the cancellation rates are very, very low, as I've already talked about. The fourth point is to have a good customer experience across channels. So there are, when I said a statement in the beginning that, okay, home delivery is a given, people are looking for buy online, pick up in store, BOPIS, buy online, return in store. Okay, I'm buying online, can I pick up this product today only? I don't want to wait for it. Or can I return this product at the store? Can I do a curbside pickup? So all these newer customer journeys, to polish the newer customer journeys, is very, very important. Very important. And it's very important that you give a unified experience to the user. Whatever is your promotion online should be available offline. A person on the store, online, D2C, marketplace should get the same experience. The next point is to power various channel specific journeys. Now, each of the channel specific journeys have to be polished. For example, let's say, God forbid, the customer cancels the order. Where does the order come back to? Does it come to the store? Does it come to the warehouse? If it comes to the store, what are the GST implications? If it goes to the warehouse, what are the GST implications? What are the each of the steps? God forbid, if there is pilferage, God forbid there is a mishap and the product goes missing, what are the seller protection aspects? So all these aspects needs to be considered and polished. Otherwise, you cannot become a profitable omnichannel at scale. The next point here, another which I come to, because I have told you I'll give you a structured 7 pillars, is process transformation. Now, what I mean by that, the minute your store is being used for fulfilling the orders, it is very important that people have incentive plans and trainings to keep the product packed, to give it to the logistics partner on time. Let's say, let me take a scenario. So we allocate it to a store in 30 seconds. 30 seconds it's taken to allocate to a store. The store person doesn't pack it for 3 hours, doesn't keep it ready for 4 hours. The logistics partner comes and leaves empty-handed. The customer doesn't get the product in time. Major dissatisfaction. So the entire process transformation, training, support, and now because your store is fulfilling for, let's say, Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra, everything, the store staff should not mix up the products, should not mix up that this product दूसरे logistics partner को दे दिया. Those aspects of it, aspects of incentive plans, keeping them motivated is very, very important. And the last few points is to have your marketing channel sip into your data management platform. So when you're selling it to the customer with your D2C channel, capture data, give that profile to your marketing channel so that they can see and hunt for a look-alike and target those campaigns, send the right kind of messages and promos, increase the lifetime value of your customer. So that's very, very important that the data goes back into your marketing channel and it becomes successful. So that's these 7 pillars that I wanted to talk to you about how, and whatever I've talked about is in 4 parts: the ground reality, what was the challenge, the solution that is provided, and the impact. To call out a few brands, we do omni-channel enablement for fashion, lifestyle, FMCG. We've done it for about 100 plus brands. So happy to do that and help you whenever you need it. These are some of the examples of the brand that we've done. That's what we are doing. And Anshuk, it is fantastic that with this, especially with now people are more and more open. People are using data and devices very heavily. The aspect of devices in hand, 4 GB, 8 GB RAM devices, internet everywhere, purchasing power parity, simpler GST taxation system, digital payments, all these are powering the Indian economy in a big way. And it is expected to, the online share is expected to rise and rise and rise. So that's my perspective. What do you say? Let's hear from Priya also. Priya, are you, do you think so? This is the world is going more and more online. What do you say?
I would definitely agree to, especially when it comes to the younger generation. I don't remember very often going to the stores to buy products. We generally buy it online. Even if I have like a Mac store right next to my house, I would still prefer buying it online. So yeah, I think we are definitely going towards a more digitalized aspect.
Yeah, do you see some questions from our audience? Is anybody inquisitive in
Of
asking?
course, we actually do have a lot of questions from the audience. Maybe we could also show the audience the offers that we have for the attendees of today's webinar.
Sure.
Getting started with the question. The first question is from Nilesh. We're already doing well in marketplaces, and we also have our own retail outlet. We are well known in our locality. We have just started our own D2C website. How can we increase the traction to our own website? Anshuk, can you take this question?
Yes, absolutely. So, couple of things. One, if you're just starting your online website, you will still have to bank upon the most popular channels, which is Facebook and Google to start with. So I would definitely urge you to have some sort of a marketing budget in mind. Make sure that you spread it out over a 3-month period, because that's one thing which I've seen, that any sort of a marketing takes around 3 months to give results. So first step, get your Facebook and Google campaigns run for the first 3 months. Second, I would say that because you already have some presence offline and you already have some, you're selling on marketplaces also. So one good way to kickstart your direct to consumer DTC marketing is also that whatever customer database you have, a lot of these channels allow you to create a lookalike of it. And that's actually the power of an offline brand trying to go online, because you don't have to go blind. You already have a set of customers. Upload these email IDs and phone numbers on Google and Facebook. Both these platforms are very intelligent. They will match your customers to their existing customer base, and then they will help you identify people who are most closest to your customer base. And this is known as lookalike on Facebook. It's known as similar on Google, but it's one and the same thing. And we have seen that this targeting works very, very well. Third, I would also say that when you're as an offline brand or as a brand which is present on marketplaces, there is already some sort of a connect which is established. You're not like a new brand online. So make the most of it, which means that on your website, do talk about your offline presence. On your, I would say, social pages, do mention that you have an online website, you have an offline presence, and you also are present on marketplaces. So the more you differentiate yourselves from a pure play DTC brand which just started with one website, the better trust and connect you will be able to establish with your customers.
Thank you, Anshuk. The next question is from Jatin. Concerned that agency staffs lack skills and capability to handle the omni-channel technology is seen as one of the major inhibitors to omni-channel. How do you, as an omni-channel enabler, help overcome this? I think, Tapan, you can take this question.
Sure. So I have been doing omni-channel for more than 6 years now, and it sits on your phone. So it is like, pressing a few buttons, means few images here and there. So when we started omni-channel 6-7 years back, we started by doing, a very online kind of a version of our website, and it miserably failed. So we realized that we need to build a UI, very easy and very store specific, where people can quickly, press a few images, like working on or browsing a website or playing on WhatsApp, and do that. So we see that now our product in stores by store staff, same education, same profile, is used by more than 10,000 store staff. So, and I see a solid adoption, millions of orders every week flowing onto the platform. So I would say now technology has made it very, very simpler, and the UI is the key. Let me know whenever you want to see the UI. I'll have someone help you with the UI.
Sure. Thank you, Tapan. Next, I'd like to kind of combine Yash and Arvind's question. Considering that they are bootstrapped startups and the fact that Facebook and Instagram ads are getting expensive day by day, do you think it's a good practice to start in YouTube first and take it forward from there? Anshuk, can you take this question?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a good observation. Facebook and Instagram are becoming more expensive by the day. Plus, there is also an iOS 14 update, which some of you might have noticed. It happened in the month of April this year, where some pixels of Facebook stopped firing in iOS 14 devices. We have seen impact coming because of it on the overall performance of Facebook and Instagram. So to counter these, what I can suggest is number one, yes, definitely try YouTube as a channel. In YouTube, you can either try the YouTube for action video creatives, like I spoke about, or you can try the newsfeed and the carousel creatives on Discovery. Now, which one to try as a new brand? If you are in the apparel space, most of your creatives will be image ads, because when you're selling a t-shirt, an image is very good. You don't really need to have a video for it. So try Discovery ads, which are carousel and newsfeed. If you are into like FMCG space, health and wellness, Ayurveda, beauty, we have usually seen that images are not sufficient. It's very hard to sell a bottle of, let's say, Ayurveda medicine or like a beauty product just by image, because it's very hard to convey the USP. So for that, use the YouTube video. Okay. Now, just to complete the picture, running YouTube alone is not going to help you, because YouTube, by the very nature of its platform, people don't click on it and purchase right there and then. Okay. People are actually on YouTube many a times to watch something else. So you have to complement YouTube with two things. One, your brand search campaigns on Google, like I spoke about. And second, your remarketing campaigns on Facebook and Instagram. Okay. Now, the beauty is the remarketing campaigns on Facebook and Instagram are actually not very expensive. The reason that is the case is because remarketing audiences are very limited. So only about 20-30% of your budget will go into remarketing. The remaining 60% can go into prospecting on YouTube, like we spoke about, and the balance 10% can go into brand search campaign. So that sort of a mix you can do: prospects on YouTube and remarketing on Facebook and Google.
Thank you, Anshuk. The next question is, how should brands prepare for the upcoming festive season and holiday shopping load? They want tips from Tapan.
It's very difficult to say. It's a little bit of a crystal ball gazing. But if I may do a little bit of a crystal ball gazing, what I see is the diesel petrol consumption in the last few weeks has gone up, which means that product is moving from factories into stores, which means that after vaccination, people are coming into the market and there is an expected demand which is there. Another two trends which I am also looking at is in US, after considerable vaccination, people are traveling and people are shopping with a revenge. So that is the second trend I saw. The third trend that I saw is Ramzan season for this year in the Middle East was 90% of 2019.
Wow.
So also I've also started to travel because customers have started asking me to come to their office. So I'm seeing the smaller cities like Indore and Bhopal, etc. They're literally 100% vaccinated. So more and more people are stepping out of their house. So I feel that there is there is a definitely a possibility of a good demand which is coming in the festive season. Also, what I see is I'm talking to Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra. They are all expecting the same kind of trends and their plans, because they're doing the tech planning. What is the kind of load, number of users they are expecting on their platform? That is also optimistic. Seeing that, I feel that it should be optimistic. I would say if you're doing omni-channel, reach out to your logistics partners, prepare them, do a simulation of higher load planning, give them your forecast, do retraining for your stores, and I think so you can plan for the festive season.
Sure. Thank you, Tapan. Anshuk, can you add on to this? What can brands do from the marketing front, especially with the festive season coming up?
Absolutely. So a couple of things. One, if you are, let's say, marketing on your direct to consumer website using Facebook and Google ads, be prepared to see a hike in the cost of ads. So, so while everybody thinks that festive season is like a great time, it is a great time, but it does come with its fair share of challenges because you have to stand out. There is an Amazon sale, there is a big billion sale, there are other marketplace sales, there are some offline medium sales, and then you have to like stand out with your own marketing. It becomes tough, right? So what I would recommend is do pick your bets well, okay, which means that you don't really necessarily need to compete on the days when there are big billion sales going out. You might want to lower your spends a little during those times, and then opportunistically, let's say for example in the mid of October, because this year Diwali is in November, you can actually scale up your spends. Similarly, I think September is actually a good time, contrary to popular belief, to actually start rolling out your festive specific messaging, because then you're slightly ahead of the marketplaces. So I would suggest, number one, start early. Okay. Number two, be very judicious in your spends. Don't compete on the days of big billion. Number three, all your creatives can actually be more contextual. They can talk about Diwali. They can talk about, let's say, Karwa Chauth. They can talk about Dashera. You can use some nice overlays. There are these small borders you can put on top of your creatives, which instantly catches attention. You can, if you have any discounts, you can probably reword your discount coupon codes. You can say Diwali 10, Karwa Chauth 10, just to make the user feel that this is a very specific discount which they're getting because of festive season, right? And you can, of course, promote your higher average order value inventory. This is the time when people want to splurge, right? So why do you want to give them an option to buy that 600 rupee top? Then you can actually sell them those 2000 rupee dresses. So make sure that you sell your 2000 rupee dresses, you sell your dinner sets. Don't try to sell those small cups and bowls during this time. And that's when you will be able to make money. Just go increase your average order value as well.
Thanks, Anshuk. The next question is from Pratik. Will we be able to power omni-channel for service-oriented products? Tapan, can you take this question?
So when you're talking about service-oriented products, uh, I am just thinking aloud that it could be possibly spa salon, could be those kind of products. You can power omni-channel onto that also, because a large percentage of spa and salon products is also products kept for sale there, and utilizing their inventory, having database, predicting the next best action from nearby store, etc. That is very, very useful. We can connect on that on the side, but it is useful to do that as well.
Sure. Thanks, Tapan. The next question is from Charvi. How long should new DTC brands wait to see the results from paid ad campaigns? Anshuk, can you take this question?
Yes. So generally, marketing takes time. Okay. So what I usually recommend to all the new founders whom I interact with is to have a 3-month horizon at least. Okay. So whatever budget you have, let's say you have a budget of 50,000 rupees or a 1 lakh rupee or a 2 lakh rupee for marketing, whatever budget you have, spread it evenly for the first 90 days. Because what I've seen does not really work very well is to start with a budget of, let's say, 1 lakh for the first month, okay, and say that if I get good returns, I increase the budget, and if I don't, I'll decrease the budget. So that is not a good way to plan it, because it's very hard to get good results in the first month itself, and then you get disappointed seeing the results, and then you scale down marketing. But the best results comes when marketing budgets are consistent as much as possible. So have a 3-month horizon, whatever budget you have, divided by 90 days, and then start spending across the platforms.
Thanks, Anshuk. The next question is Omni helpful for only large brands who have a lot of store network, or is it valid for small brands with limited number of stores as well? Tapan, can you take this question?
It is more relevant and very, very relevant for small brands, which are. I'll give you an example. The larger brands, of course, it's a very organic thing for them to think, because the fragmentation of inventory is very, very high. But the smaller brands who have very specific and niche products, could be regional products, which could be very niche, customized products, getting a demand from them across India, and where most of us are traveling and we are not living in our hometowns, but we want to enjoy the same product which we used to buy in our hometown. Also having to cater to a larger market, a larger mind share, and still exploring various areas where you should put up your next store is very important for that. So, and as I said, it is not dependent on a fixed capital cost of, buying up capex. For example, in the past, when you wanted to go omni-channel, you had to buy a huge, maybe in big system or ERP or blah 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 blah, and spend crores of rupees. Now it's pay by use. You go omni-channel in weeks. Why miss this opportunity?
Sure. I think we've covered all the questions of today's webinar. A recording of this webinar is going to be sent to all the attendees of this webinar. Thank you so much. It was very insightful, and we're sure we all have the next steps from here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anshuk. Thank you, Tapan.
Thank you, Priya and Anshuk. Thank you very much for enlightening us. And I'm hoping that we will take a lot of benefit from your inputs, and optimize our outreach and get to sell more and more when the world is now buying more online.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Tapan. I think I learned a lot from you. Three things which stood out for me today is, one, to have a unified inventory across all the channels. I didn't really realize the importance of that. Second, you also mentioned delivering from the store. I think that's a very important thing, a very recent phenomena. And third is an abbreviation I learned today, BOPIS, which is buy online, pick in store. So it's always good to learn new abbreviations. I think the world is moving really fast online. If you just don't keep track of it in 6 months, you are pretty much feel outdated. So very valuable learnings today.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Anshuk, and thank you everyone for patiently listening.
Thank you so much.
Bye.